we can see that there's about 16.5 million adults, US adults, who are struggling with eczema. It's more common in females, and 90% of those report daily itching. Over 50% of those patients report interference with daily life. And those are big numbers. Those are a lot of Americans who continue to struggle. Today, we're going to take a different approach. We are going to ask ourselves, what are the major factors that contribute to eczema? This is something that we have talked about previously in the GI Summit and in the Advanced Functional and Nutritional Medicine program. And that is the topic of the gut and skin axis. Our class today is really going to the mechanisms that could contribute or lead to the development of eczema. And we know that in the conventional approach, of course, there's a different way of seeing and addressing chronic diseases, right? So, for example, what we're seeing is more and more eczema patients that are going to see their dermatologist, and they continue to struggle with those symptoms of eczema. So if you're looking for uncovering the root causes of those conditions, chronic conditions, and gain new knowledge and skills, you are in the right place.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of atopic dermatitis, eczema cases, and with, like you mentioned, the functional medicine approach, where you just kind of always dig a little deeper. I always find that there are specific culprits, and patients can always, once they do the digging, figure out what triggers are worsening or even causing them to have flare-ups and such. So I do think that the functional medicine approach to atopic dermatitis, eczema, I think it's just top tier in my mind, and how it's able to really, truly help patients with their disease state, but also like empowering them to feel like they actually have control over their health. So I'm really excited to dig into this one, because I feel like it's a topic that you don't really hear discussed so often in functional medicine, but I think it's the most common chronic inflammatory skin issue. So I'm excited to chat about it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so interesting to mention that from just my own previous kind of professional experience, talking previously to dermatologists or sending patients out to dermatologists, none of them have talked about dietary factors.
Right.
It's really interesting to go through that experience. And then beyond that, none of them actually talk about what's causing it. So this is why it's so important.
Yes. I think that gut, obviously I'm obsessed with gut health, but anytime there's a patient with any kind of chronic inflammatory issue, skin or whatever the system is, you have to look at the gut always. There's so much literature around how the gut is sometimes a huge trigger, and also something that contributes to the progression of a disease. Even if it's not the trigger, it can just contribute to the progression. So I think gut is always the king when it comes to evaluating chronic issues. So research suggests, like we mentioned, the gut microbiome plays a significant role in the development of eczema by shaping the immune system early in life. So when the gut microbiome becomes imbalanced, which is dysbiosis, what we call dysbiosis, it disrupts immune regulation, promotes downstream inflammatory cycles, and can just kind of set the stage for chronic inflammatory conditions like eczema. Studies have found that people who have eczema tend to have higher levels of certain bacteria, so the Clostridia, the Clostridium difficile, E. coli, and even the Staph aureus microbe in their gut. And then on the other side of that coin, they tend to have like less of the protective microbes. So the bifidobacteria and the Bacteroides are often reduced in this cohort. So the imbalance can alter the production of metabolites. I think we've talked about the gut microbiome and metabolites that can come from these microbes and just them existing in the gut. Just having the imbalance in your microbiome contributes to further downstream effects. So it can alter your metabolite production in the gut. It can alter short-chain fatty acid production, your butyrate, which is really important for a healthy gut microbiome, just healthy cells in the gut. They can also, these short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, acetate, propionate, can just be really great for creating an anti-inflammatory effect in the system, supporting a healthier gut barrier, and then Interestingly enough, when you look at some of the literature, they find that in infants with milder eczema or no eczema at all, they tend to have they're more likely to have the butyrate producing bacteria compared to, let's say, infants with more severe disease. So that butyrate component kind of comes back into play as a protective mechanism in the gut. So the gut microbiome, it has axes with multiple different systems, your skin, your liver, your lungs, all the things. But as it relates to the skin, it actually impacts the skin both directly and indirectly. So certain gut bacteria make compounds that can actually affect how the skin feels and functions, which I think is so cool. So for example, tryptophan, which is produced in the gut, can actually trigger itching symptoms in the skin, while beneficial strains like your lactobacillus, your bifidobacterium can create GABA, which is kind of a calming, which helps calm itching. It's also something we think of also for like calming anxiety, like a GABA type of effect. So really interesting that the microbes in the gut can produce these things that can then impact the system. So other microbes, your Neisseria, Enterococcus, they can produce serotonin, which can also play a role in skin health. So beyond just these like direct effects, the microbiome also impacts your skin through your stress response, right? So stress hormones like cortisol can disrupt your gut barrier. It can shift the balance of microbes living there. And in turn, this can change the signaling molecules that are happening throughout the system, such as your tryptamine, trimethylamine, serotonin. These are ones that circulate throughout the bloodstream. These molecules, obviously, we know they affect brain function, but they also influence our skin barrier and inflammation in the skin. And a huge facet of atopic dermatitis or eczema is disruptions in the skin barrier. So definitely something to think about from a gut health perspective. So we're going to take a look at an image that kind of details it out in a little bit of a more nuanced way. So in this image, we see certain mechanisms of how the gut microbiome regulates the pathogenesis of atopic dermatitis. So the short chain fatty acids are the very bottom row, the very first little rectangle or box there. Short chain fatty acids produced by the gut microbiome are able to activate short chain fatty acid sensing G protein coupled receptors and then inhibit the deacetylases, so the histone deacetylases, which then can activate downstream signaling cascades that suppress inflammatory responses and restoring the T helper 1, T helper 2 balance. So a lot of times in chronic illness and in autoimmunity, you see this kind of theme around, or it's more of a dance, I would say, around the T helper 1, T helper 2 balance and what kind of components can increase it versus decreasing for calibrating the immune response. So the short chain fatty acids, downstream effects impact the TH1, T helper 2 balance. Microbial metabolites, the D-tryptophan, which I think is down there in the third box, can also impact that T helper 1, T helper 2 balance. Bifidobacteria, which is a genus of bacteria, which many different good strains of microbes, probiotics belong. They are an important source of these metabolites. So microbial tryptophan metabolites can activate certain receptors, the aryl hydrocarbon receptor, which inhibits inflammatory responses and improves the epidermal barrier of the skin. So that's just kind of the bifidobacteria genus. And then the last little thing I'll mention are these, they call them PAMPs and DAMPs, but the PAMPs specifically, which is the very, very right, there's not a box around it. It just says PAMPs. But they're pathogen-associated molecular patterns produced by the gut microbiome. They can activate these toll-like receptors that can also impact your TH1, TH2 immune balance. So this is just a specific snapshot of how the gut in many different ways actually impacts our immune balance, which can then further impact our inflammatory and skin inflammatory barrier and function. So pretty gnarly, huh? All the ways the gut impacts our skin.
Yes, absolutely. It's a fascinating topic, and it's one that we really dive in fairly quickly, I think, in the advanced functional medicine program. For that reason, we're right after going into functional immunology and everything, how everything around us in our environment, our food, our water, our air, like everything, our dietary choices, macronutrients that we eat more or less, how does that impact and shift our immune function, which is really important for every provider to know. When you understand the gut microbiome, then you really start to look at these patterns of which bacteria are associated with each disease or each condition or each clinical presentation. And that is so useful in clinical practice, because I'll never forget that when I got the results of the first few GI stool analysis with some chronic patients, and that gave me so many answers to why they're sick, why did they develop their symptoms, or what contributed to their symptoms, right? So thank you so much for doing that overview. And
Yeah.
of course, for all of you in our program, you are invited to connect with Dr. Esha and Dr. Chill and Dr. Kim, another one of our mentors. And so you're welcome to connect with experienced healthcare practitioners with years of clinical experience, do case studies with them. That's really how we get you there faster in order to apply functional medicine from your first and second month in the program.